All right, so today's conversation is with Donny Mashiak. He's the founder and CEO of Warrior Group. So, Donny, welcome to the podcast. Can you please share a bit about yourself and your company?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me, Romain. So, Warrior Group is a team of experienced business leaders. We help founders scale through clarity, strategy, and the power of finance. And essentially, we embed within a team, deeply understand the business, build the financial infrastructure, and then we create the roadmap needed to reach the business goals. So, we're strategic financial partners and we help founders execute, scale, and win.
And so, what's the size of the companies that you're helping?
Yeah. So usually it's growing businesses that are 2 to 50 million or so of revenue. And we're doing things like cash flow management, we're doing forecasting, strategic finance, and transaction support. Our clients are typically founders who've outgrown, let's say, basic bookkeeping, or they hit a roadblock and they're trying to achieve their goals and they need that financial leadership to scale responsibly. Or they're on the brink of a raise or an acquisition or an exit, and they need someone to drive that process with precision. And that's where we enter.
Okay, so from 2 to 50 million in revenue. So, in general, they have like 10 employees, 10 to 50 employees, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we flex a little bit lower as well, and then a little bit higher. It really depends. It's more of that we find generally that's where our target audience is within, but we definitely can scale up or down from there on a case by case basis.
Okay. And so, what makes your company different?
Yeah. So I would say that usually, I guess in the business where we're in strategic finance. Usually, what you have in our business is you have, let's say, one person come in, and usually they have some industry experience. I think with us, it's the team that we've put together, which I have the utmost respect for. They're all industry professionals that are also aided by a back end team of analysts. So we have people who've been in industry, then investment banking, private equity, CFOs, consultants, right, at some of the largest companies. And then they're able to come back and almost give the cheat codes to all the smaller businesses. And they're aided in our platform by a team of analysts that do a lot of the number crunching so that they can focus on the strategic vision. So we give you a deal team, we give you industry experience, all at a price point that founders can afford, and they get the cheat code for that.
Mhm. Okay. And last time we talked, you said that you have some solution for your own team, like you have something specific that you're offering them. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I guess like from internally how we're able to get the best talent, like what solution we offer to them.
Yeah.
Sure. So a lot of industry professionals, after they do their time in large industry, a big four accounting or consulting, investment banking, private equity, and then they kind of want to have their own time. So it's where do they go, right? And they want to build their own platform. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. They've done their own thing, and so where do they go? And so the idea behind Warrior is that when warriors, because I find entrepreneurs are contemporary warriors, and that's the number one thing that we preach to, that we understand what it's like to build something from nothing, break through boundaries, be told no a million times and push through. And we want to be that strategic partner. So our team, they've all been there and they say, okay, well, I've kind of done my team in industry. I want to help people. Give me a platform, but it's hard to do that on your own. So what we like to do is we give them the platform that they could have the analysts and team underneath them, and also the surrounding of amazing other talented professionals. So there's a platform and a community that they're able to thrive within, and they get to do it and build their own clientele, their own brand within the Warrior umbrella. So it's a win-win for them. It's a win-win for our clients. It's a win-win for our team.
Okay. I see. And I've seen that you have a lot of experience in other industries. I've seen in the food industry as well, right?
Yes,
And
that's right.
in other industries, like what led you, and you started this company like recently, less than 2 years ago, right?
Yes.
So, like, what led you to start this company?
Yeah. So really interesting backstory. So I originally started a food business, a concessions company while I was in college. I got married when I was 19, and I tell people it wasn't a mistake. I'm just Jewish, so we get married early. And so I was starting school, and dad said, well, you got to also support your family. You got to figure that one out. We ended up getting a contract to do kosher food at Wrigley Field for the Chicago Cubs. And that was my first introduction to the business. And I think we had like 72 hours to be operational from when the CEO of the Cubs said yes. So from there, season went well, everything was going well. I started messing around with spreadsheets, and then someone told me, hey, there's an entire industry for this. It's called finance, and specifically go into investment banking. So I had the chip on my shoulder, and I said, I'm going to get into investment banking no matter what it takes. I did the free internships in private equity and hedge fund and all these things in capital markets, and then made my way into investment banking. While I was there, I saw that, well, I spent time at two different places when I was there. One was a smaller investment bank, and by smaller, it's relatively smaller, doing deals of 10 million to $150 million of enterprise value, which is still a lot of money. And I was working with founders and entrepreneurs. And then I spent time at a bigger Wall Street bank, and those deals were something like a billion, $5 billion, right? So I kind of got all ends of the finance spectrum. And I realized that the billion-dollar deals were fun on Wall Street, but I missed working with founders. I missed it a lot. And when I worked with the lower middle market companies, I saw a gap that they were fast growing businesses. They had real potential, but they didn't have any financial visibility or strategy. And I realized that founders don't need another accountant. They need a financial operator and a partner to make decisions with in order to let them achieve their goals. So the idea behind Warrior, along with my COO, we created it, and we figured out we could be a part CFO, part operator, part transaction advisor, all with an execution team behind it. So the idea from it really came from my time with working with entrepreneurs and seeing that there was a big gap, and maybe if we can help them scale, we can embed within their team and create value for everyone.
Okay, I see. And like, how big is your team right now?
We're 25 all in. We've grown really fast. So we have 10, I'd say they're called CFOs, consultants, right? Like I'd say leadership, um, I guess the form of managing director, right? The people who lead the deal teams and interface with the client. And we have 15 analysts. And I think that's probably the biggest differentiator at Warrior Group is that we have a team of analysts that do a lot of the execution. And usually what you would see in a normal, let's say, fractional CFO firm or consulting firm or something like that is that you kind of see one person, right? You'd see one individual who's doing everything. Now, coming from the banking industry where everything is very hierarchical, um, you would never see that. You would never see the managing director who's leading the engagement also holding pen and running the financial model and doing those things. And so I said, well, why can't I bifurcate it? Why can't I say, let the strategic partners and the strategic people who have industry experience, the team members, let them do what they love. They don't need to do every part of it. And then we could take the execution team and make their life easier and give them a platform to do what they love. And they get a deal team, so does the client, and everybody wins. But right now, and that's why we've been successful. We've been able to scale in 2 years to the 25 team members that we are. And right now we're excited to keep moving and growing.
And so how fast are you growing? Like, how many employees did you have last year? Like, how did that work?
Yes. So I mean, we started off, it was myself and my COO. And then from there, like we quickly brought on like 5 analysts first, and then we brought on 5 CFOs, and then we kind of just scaled pretty quickly from there. I'd say like we've 4x'd in 1 year in terms of growth, and we're gonna hopefully triple that next year. And so we're growing pretty quickly, and I think it's a solution that everyone's really excited about that the market hasn't seen yet.
Interesting. And so how did you start with like client acquisition? How did you get your first clients?
Yeah, it's good. It's a good question. So the first thing that happened was people would just kind of ask me, just friends, community members would ask me, hey, can you build me a financial model? Like, hey, like, can I have a pitch deck? Like things that they knew that I kind of knew from banking, Excel, PowerPoint, what have you. And then did like 2 or 3 of those and I would give them to our clients. And I realized that I could make the most beautiful financial model in the world. They're not really interested or don't know how to utilize it. So then my COO and I were thinking like, well, how do we take over this function? And so he said, well, what if instead of just giving them a financial model, let's take over the entire financial department for these growing teams. And then we came up with the idea like, okay, we'll offer this to them on a consultancy basis. And that's really what led to it. And so the first client that we had, I think, was just like a, friend or community member. And then we got referrals, right? The first way that we did it, we didn't do any paid media. We didn't do any big marketing campaigns. It was just referrals from community members and me really just being genuinely interested in everyone else's businesses and seeing if there's opportunity, which is always a fine line because you don't want to make everyone that you talk to into a business client. But then from there, 3, 4, 5, and then you just keep having at bats of telling people about what you're doing. And if they like you and they know you do good work, they refer you. That was like our foundation. From there, we started seeing that, hey, we could actually get referral partners like consulting firms, accounting firms, other types of firms. And if we develop relationships with these people, then they have clients that we could help out and they have services that we could offer our clients, and that would be a good mutual relationship. So our second method of acquiring clients was through referral partners. Now is where we're actually getting into paid media, we're getting into other types of content, and that'll be a whole new chapter that we're exploring that we're very much excited about.
And so how many clients do you currently have?
Yeah, so we have upwards of 35 clients right now. And these are
Okay.
all on the recurring basis. We have a lot of one-off clients that come here and there, but essentially we're supporting 35 plus teams right now.
And so how many clients did you have before starting the referral partner program and before starting paid media?
Yeah, so I would say we probably had 5 or 6 clients that were like our organic base that we started off with. Then from there, we started getting referrals from those clients first, and then we started the consulting and accounting firms, which probably added another 10 or 15, and then kind of organically and collectively, we started going from there. But I think something that's interesting is that while you're getting referrals from other people, like that's kind of the invisible hand. People think that it's going to be all about how much you pay and how much you market. You can only package up a damaged product for so long, which means that the referrals, if every single time you get a client, 3 other people are referred to you because that client says you do good work, you've just 3x'd your marketing without any dollars. And then the inverse of that is that no matter how much you spend, if you have a bad product, you're going to have that working against you and you're going to have negative ad spend, right? So I think it's really important that I would advise people that as you're growing your initial client base, keep it to just referrals, understand it, refine your product. Once you have a product, then you go out and market bigger and pay dollars for it.
And so what brought you the most clients? Is it your referral program or paid ads?
Honestly, it's not going to be the answer everyone wants to hear, but it is referrals and it's through doing good work. I'd say like the paid ads is something we're just starting, and so TBD on what paid media does. But I'd say that having an excellent product that transforms businesses is absolutely something that will get you the most clients, the most referrals, and that will spread. And that's like by far is have an excellent product and marketing will help you versus if you have a bad product, marketing will try and cover for you, but that's a losing proposition in the long run. So definitely referral basis for services business is the way to go.
And so right now you told me that for next year you want to 3x the company. Do you plan to push more on the referral to increase the number of partners or to just like spend a lot more on ads? What's the plan?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the first thing is that we're rolling out the paid media and there's a lot of exciting things coming there. So I'm excited about that. That'll definitely be the main driver. In the background, though, the more clients that we acquire and that we do good work for, and we have a referral program for, the more likely we are to organically grow at the same time. And so, like, we're rolling out some special things for our referral partners. Usually what you have in a referral agreement is someone will say, hey, I'll give you, 3 or 5% of any revenue that comes in. So we were kind of scratching our heads and said, like, well, that's interesting, but how do we get someone excited about Warrior and offering Warrior as a product? And so we said, you know what? Let's give them $5,000 or
Mhm.
$10,000 or $15,000. Everybody has a number that would make them think about Warrior, right? And so that's really the program that we're rolling out now for our referral partners is let's buy them a Rolex when they give us a referral. right? That's something interesting. And it always gets into the mind of the incentives of whoever is helping you grow, whether that be the consumer purchasing your product or service or the referral partner or whoever it is. You got to get into what makes them excited. And to me, this is what made me excited. So I hope that'll make everyone else excited too.
Yeah, you're trying to make it a lot more appealing than your competitors or other people in the market.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what kind of ads are you running? Is it on LinkedIn, Facebook? What have you been
Yeah,
running?
so we're doing, I mean, TBD right now, we're not doing that much on the marketing. We're just launching it now. What I expect to happen is it'll be a mixture of LinkedIn and Facebook ads, primarily because for SEO, right, for the site optimization, the keywords that we'd be looking for, cash flow, forecasting, budgeting, strategic finance, are likely very expensive. And not exactly sure how much traffic that will bring. So we're going to start off with more of the platform ads, maybe Instagram as well, and then we'll go from there. We're going to do a lot of experimenting, right? And something, it's almost like starting is more important than getting it 100% correct. And we'll refine it as we go. We'll figure it out, but we just got to start somewhere.
And in the past, did you try something in terms of channel or like client acquisition strategies that didn't work for you?
Yeah. We went outside of our core expertise. We tried to do everything and we tried offering services that we weren't equipped to do at the time where our product wasn't ready because it was a natural add-on. And I'll give an example. So we we stay within the strategic finance bucket. Sometimes that leads to, let's say, accounting and controller services, things like that. Way before we were ready for this, we had a client that had a very complex transaction. And because of that complexity, they needed some help setting up like a lot of different accounting and buckets and things like that, that probably needed someone who was very well equipped and developed in the space. And we said, well, we can do it. We can figure it out. We figured everything else out. Big mistake. We hadn't refined the product. We hadn't refined the scope. We hadn't refined the cadence. And we learned from there that develop the product first and well, do what you're good at, do what you've mastered, and then grow from there.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. And so now I have a question about your entrepreneurial journey. So if you had to do it all over again, what would you spend less time on and what would you focus on instead?
That's a good question. Give me a second. I want to think about this one because this is
Sure.
important.
I mean, it's great what you've done in short period of time. So probably there are not a lot of mistakes and waste of time, but probably a
I
bit.
I'd like to think that part of it is that having an excellent COO as a partner with me has been amazing, and because we have some of our team overseas, we're able to develop basically 24/7. Because of the rest of our team is here, we have an excellent team that retains our clients, keeps our clients, and I think it's a win-win platform. If I were to do something over again, I would immediately start focusing on the product and refining the product and the infrastructure, and then think about business development way early, right? I think a lot of people are focused on the wrong type of business development when they start. Maybe like it's running LinkedIn or running ads and things like that before the product is ready. I think the first thing is develop the product and your scope and your offering. Know how you bring value to your clients first. Then from there, you take that and you put it into business development because ultimately, the clients that give you the feedback and as you refine the product, you will figure out the solution of value that you give to your clients. And it's probably very different than when you start. And so if you start with kind of a cracked foundation and then you start doing business development based on that, it's going to be difficult because you don't even know what your true value is. So I guess maybe to rephrase, refine your product first, spend more time on the product first, then package it, and then you have a sustainable route to then continue growing.
Where did you find your CEO? Because it looks like you found also good partner. It was essential at the beginning to have the right partner. Where
Yeah.
did you find him?
Yeah. So we actually worked together in investment banking. And so while we were doing that, we said, you know what? Like, we could probably do this better. Like, me and you, let's figure something out. And we worked together for 5, 6 years previously, and we worked really well. We were both entrepreneurs beforehand, before we got into banking. And then we said, you know what? It's time to do something on our own. And it's been an incredible journey since.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing all of this. Really appreciate you taking the time today. Where can people find more about you and your company? Like, where are you the most active?
Yeah, so my LinkedIn is pretty active. So it's just my name, right, on LinkedIn. Warriorgp.com. Warriorgp.com is a great place to find us. We actually have some cool tools coming out very soon. So I'd love everyone to go visit there. And then, Roman, I have a few closing things I'd love to say. So I think that one of the things that we talked about was, the non-negotiable principles that we apply in Warrior. And so one of those is leadership through partnership. I have the utmost respect for my team, and they're all building their own brands and relationships within Warrior. And it's a platform for professionals to do what they love. And the second thing is all have the heart of an entrepreneur. That's why it's called Warrior, because entrepreneurs are modern day warriors, and everyone on our team is empowered to think like a founder because they've been one, and that's who we serve. And then the last thing is that clarity always beats complexity. It's our job to make the most complex things simple, and simplicity is the ultimate complexity. And so with that, I would say if you're a founder and you have a dream and you're going through it and you feel a little bit stuck and you're not exactly sure why, but it has something to do in the finance realm, or you're looking for the roadmap or the vision, give Warrior a call. It's something that will really help you.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for sharing all of that. I'll put the link in the description, of course. Thank you,
All right.
Donny.
All right. Thanks, Romain. Appreciate you having me.